Clueless turns 30 years old, and here to talk about what gives the movie so much staying power is actress Elisa Donovan, who played Amber, the fiery redhead, who, hands down, had one of the funniest jokes in the film. She's also appeared in such pop culture hits as Beverly Hills 90210, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and A Night at the Roxbury, just to name a few. She's a celebrity mom blogger for People.com and was voted reader favorite for her funny, touching posts on being a mother. Without further ado, Elisa, welcome to group text.
So great to be here.
I cannot believe it has been 30 years since Clueless came out.
Oh, I mean, neither can I.
In
Neither can I.
today's money, this doesn't sound like a lot. The film made $50 million at the box office. At the
Yes.
time, that's like $250 million now.
It was an extraordinary amount of money. And I think it was something like the first weekend, it was like 11 or $13 million, which was like an absolute stunner. Like it was way beyond what anyone would have expected. And for films at that time, it was like, that was a lot. That was a
That was
lot.
a crazy amount.
Yeah. Yep.
What do you think, looking back now, why the audience is connected with it so much?
You know, I obviously have thought like I get asked this question a lot, and I really do think so. I've had time to think about it. And
Mhm.
I really think it is a combination of things. One, it's brilliantly written, it's incredibly universal, yet very specific. And Amy is so good at really capturing that time in life and those dynamics that exist between friendships, between friends, and at school, and all of the groups and the dynamics. And then it's based on something that was such a classic book. I mean, Emma is was one of my favorite books in college, and I had just read it, ironically, before I auditioned for the movie. So I think it's all those things, and it's really good spirited. It has a huge heart, and it's really well intentioned, and it's funny. It's
Oh,
just
it's
super
it's
funny.
one of the things when I was thinking about it was when it was released, and we'll go back to talk about Amy in a few. When Clueless came out, it was, and I'm using this in quotes, a girl movie in a sea full of boy movies.
Yes.
And even Fast Times, which is Amy's big breakout movie, was a boy movie.
Yep.
And Clueless allowed a girl movie to be funny and edgy. Why was the timing so right for that, do you think?
So that was my first film. So I showed up to this experience and went, "Oh, wow. This is incredible. Women run everything. Women are the stars of the movie. Women write and direct the films. They hire all the people. They hire all the right people. They're kind to everyone. They're inclusive." I was like, making movies is great. This is what I thought. So it wasn't. I sort of wasn't really putting it together at the time, and I don't know why that was the right moment. I really look at Paramount as such a great that they allowed Amy, I say that also in quotes, allowed Amy, she's wildly capable and
Wildly capable.
incredibly talented. But again, they studios were not allowing women to make films. They just weren't. And so, that really shows how exemplary and how special Amy is. So I don't know, maybe just like we all the I think also it was the start really of movies about young people. Like we had when I was growing up, it was like 16 Candles and all the John Hughes films. And then there was sort of like a little lull, like with the Brat Pack and all those things, and they were just a different vibe. And so I don't know, I think like the world was ready for happy, bright things. And I just yeah, I don't know what makes us ready. I feel like now we're at this point in the world where there's so much going on and there's so much tension and art tends to come from those times and things shift in these moments. So I'm curious to see what will happen now. in with film and television, but uh, I don't know what
Why
made
it
me from it.
popped then. But
Yeah.
and again, we'll come back to Amy.
I think 'cause
So,
it certainly because it was so different from everything else, right? There was nothing like it.
well, she had done Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which was edgy, and I'd even put that in boy movie
Yes, and
category, and she
Cameron
captured
Crowe directed it, yep.
yeah. Then she had, Look Who's Talking,
Mhm.
which was silly,
Yep.
and then pivoted into Clueless, which, again, we'll come back to that, but I gotta ask, you just brought it up. It was your first big role. How did you get it? What were you doing leading up to it?
So I had just moved from New York. I grew up in New York and I was living in New York City and I was in college and I was supposed to do a play and in New York and a well, I went to LA to work with my agents just for a couple of weeks with the affiliate. And I tested for all of these shows for 90210. I wound up getting onto 90210 the following year, but I tested Tiffany Thiessen and Meredith Salinger all tested, and Tiffany wound up getting that role. I tested for all these things. And even though I didn't get a job, my agent said, you should be out here. Like, you should be living here. So I picked up everything in New York, moved to LA knowing one person, and within a couple of weeks I got on the show Blossom with Mayim Bialik and Joey Lawrence, and I was playing Joey's girlfriend, and they just hired me for one episode, and then we had this great chemistry, so they wrote me into more episodes, and then during that is when I started auditioning for Clueless, and I auditioned so many times. I mean, I started with Marsha Ross in her office in the Valley, who was the casting director, and also, I want to say, I think this speaks to why it is so long lasting, even though this is not something you see on the screen. Every step of that process for me was enjoyable. And meaning everybody was like, no assholes,
And
like
that is rare.
Yes, and Marsha Ross, incredible. Like, obviously a brilliant casting director, but also just a good person who is supportive of actors, and that's sadly not always the case. So I first read for her, then I read for her and Twink Kaplan. Then I went to I think it was Amy and Twink and Marsha, and then I had to go to Scott Rudin's office, which was very scary,
Yes, that's by the
intimidating.
way, that never stops being scary.
Right, right.
For those who don't know, Scott Rudin is a
A
very
scary
good
dude,
but
very intimidating.
a very good producer and literally old school scary, like, would throw things at people.
Exactly, and he was always nice to actors in my experience,
Mhm.
but he was very scary, and I remember his office being like, to me, it was like this cave, and I was terrified, but I remember driving onto the lot. It was also, I think, the first time I had been on the Paramount lot, and, that's such a beautiful old Hollywood, just, like, super special
Yeah,
lot.
it's that thing where you when we're all fortunate to drive on to
Yep,
an actual lot, not like
yep,
going to the tour at Universal. You kinda
yep,
get it on the back lot part of the tour,
yep.
but it just has this feel of magic.
Magic, magic,
It's like it's
exactly
that
right.
old school, "This is where the magic happens."
Yes, and then you see all oh, there's Forrest Gump's bench,
Yeah.
and that wall, the blue wall is where they was it
Oh,
Jaws?
that was what,
Well,
Star Trek where
yes,
where the ship went or when
yes,
where it went
yes,
down, they
all
painted
those
that
things.
whole like, a whole side of a huge parking structure
Yep,
blue.
yep,
Yeah, and flooded the parking lot.
and flooded the parking lot, right.
They also have a very sound stages have a very distinctive smell,
Oh, they sure do.
and I
Yep.
finally figured out what it is.
What is it? No,
Sawdust.
sawdust. Yeah, it is because of all building all the sets, right?
It's
And all that.
sawdust
Yep, yep.
mixed with every other crappy smell possible, but it's really
It
I
the
think the bottom
predominant is
note the
that.
top note is sawdust.
I think that that is accurate.
Okay, so you'd go onto the Paramount lot, your jaw is on the ground.
Completely. I was like, "Will I find his office? I'm gonna be late." I felt like I was hallucinating. I was so nervous, and, I do remember Amy and Twink. Amy is the most kind of disarming person. She's just so authentic. And so, when I sat in there, she was like, "Oh, you're great. You're doing great." And Twink was just like, "Oh, you're doing a great job," like really smiling and like wanting me to do well. So I remember the two of them making me feel really comfortable and Scott sort of just scaring me. And then
You're
I
like, "Don't make eye contact, don't make eye
yeah.
contact, don't make
Yes,
eye
I was just like,
contact."
"Oh, do I mean, I remember what I was wearing. I remember the whole thing,
What were you wearing?
This Betsy Johnson, like, short sleeve, like, silky sort of top and a skirt that had, like, one of her prints on it, and, I don't remember my shoes. I remember the outfit, though, and then I left, and I felt like I think I did really well. Like I think I might have gotten this movie. And then we didn't hear anything for, a couple of days and I was flying home to see my family in New York and I got the call right before I got on the airplane and I was like, "Oh my god." And so I went home and told my parents and it was really it was exciting.
So much of Clueless is the iconic clothing.
Yes. Oh, yes.
So you're starting wardrobe fittings and you walk in and for people the wardrobe fittings, you're in this huge sort of cavernous space and there's
Yeah.
clothes everywhere and people everywhere. Do you just go like, "What is going on here?"
Oh, 100%. And that studio in particular has just so many iconic films were made there, and the costume department is just enormous. And it was like anything that we wanted you just 3 seconds later it arrived in the room and there was a wonderful seamstress Zoya who like fit everything exactly to our bodies and Mona May is a costume designer who I'm seeing this weekend at an anniversary event and she it was just like an actor's dream. It was just a pool of it was so fun and everything we'd start in one place the idea of like okay she just went to Paris Fashion Week and there was a military theme so she's going to take it right off the runway and wear it to English class and then like add her own little flair so it was like Amber had all this attention to detail and so it was always like adding a little pen or adding a note to the hat or adding a certain thing that was just really theatrical and it just informed who she was, right? That helps so much as an actor to have clothing that actually impacts who you are. So it was like it was a joy. And then always, they would even when things would be in my trailer to go to set, there would be one extra like somebody run after me and be like put this in your hair or put this in your shoe and so it was just really really fun.
The chemistry between the whole cast was fantastic. You, Alicia, Donald Faison, and the
Yeah.
late Brittany Murphy, we
Oh,
all bought in 100% that this was a very tight friend group. How fast did you guys all click on set? Because sometimes it takes a minute, especially in friend movies,
yep.
to get that safe vibe and
I
the
think
finishing each other's sentences vibe.
yes, I think Alicia and I have talked about this a little bit. I think the guys immediately bonded because they just didn't feel as much stress. They were like, oh, we were shooting hoops in between shots, like hanging out.
Yeah.
And Alicia and Stacy and I were like nervous. I mean, Alicia and I were, and Alicia's in I think every single scene. So what that means is you have no break, just no break. So I didn't really even get I remember us going to lunch a couple of times, she and Stacy and I were close at the time, but I didn't really I didn't really get to know Alicia until afterwards. And even more so really recently in recent years, where we've done some things together and it's like, oh, we have dinner and go, oh my God, I like you, you're a cool person. And and then Donald so again, I think it was the guys bonded first, and then Donald and I and Brecken have like I have a nice friendship with those two.
By the way, two of the coolest, loveliest, funniest guys to be in a
Totally,
room with. I
totally.
love both of them so
Totally,
much.
like, really good guys and
And
super funny.
funny.
Yes, and
So
Donald and I did the series together for 3 years, so that was, like, so fun for me, and, they put us on all these capers, our characters, like, I would, like, make him and Sean do these crazy things, and so it was really a next level sort of fun.
it it's interesting to look back because a lot of people don't think about it now. But at the time, the fact that Clueless was able to show a realistic gay high school student
Yes!
who
Yes!
was open
Yes.
and what his relationships with his friend group was.
Yep.
At the time, did you guys even think about that?
No, this is what I think when I look back, I go, I mean, I consider myself to be, pretty educated, pretty smart cookie. And when I look back on that, I go, why was I not floored by all of these things? One, the two female lead characters, one black, one white, same socioeconomic background, no talk of like, this, they were just completely equal. And a gay character, like all these things I just, and women directing it, so many of these things were groundbreaking at the time that it's crazy. And my daughter, who is 13, just watched it for the first time last fall, so she was 12, and she, I asked her what she
I
thought,
was
and
gonna
she
say, how many
loved
times did she roll her eyes at you?
it. She well,
At
I'm like,
by at 13, when they're not the time of them not rolling their eyes is less than the
is
time they spend rolling their eyes.
this is like a whole other conversation that, yes, I am living that very deeply right now. But she watched it with my husband, who also hadn't seen it. And she was like, she loved it. She thought it was really funny. I was really good. And she said, but what I didn't understand was why didn't anybody know that the Christian character was gay? She's like, I knew he was gay the first second that he came on the screen. And I went, "Oh my god, I guess times have changed, Kids just we see things differently, but all of those things were pretty new and groundbreaking for sure.
You just said something that I've just found absolutely shocking. How could your husband have never seen the film?
I know everyone thinks I'm lying when I say that, but
I don't
it's
think you're
really
lying. I
true.
am just like,
It's really
what
true.
what
When
happened to
we
what was wrong? What kind
he
of trauma did he have in his childhood that he never saw
Well, the
Clueless?
funny thing is when we met in Mexico on vacation. It's a long story, but after we were chatting for a while, and he was like, "What do you do?" And I said, "I work in entertainment." And he's like, "Well, in what capacity?" I said, "I'm an actress." "Oh, what do you do?" I said, "Well, TV and film." And I just wasn't saying anything. And he goes, "Well, anything I've seen?" And I said, "Well, maybe." And then I said, "Oh, I did this movie, the thing that most people know is Clueless." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't see that." And then I said, "Oh, okay, well, I did this other TV show, Sabrina the Teenage Witch." He's like, "Oh, yeah, I never saw that." I was like, "Okay, so like," and then I start like rattling off my whole resume. I'm like, "Dude, I actually have a legit career, like I don't know what you're doing, but I am for real." And I was like, "A Night of the Roxbury." No, I didn't see that. I'm like, "Well, I did these dog movies for family movies for kids." No, I haven't seen those. And then I said, "Well, like one of the first, I did the Beverly Hills 90210." And he was like, "Oh, you're Ginger." He like knew my character's name. And I
Okay,
was like,
that's a little creepy.
it's a little super creepy. Where to the point where I was like, this is bizarre. But apparently his whole like college, like all of his buddies, they had this, like they would watch together. They had this joke. They would like pass around a cast photo. It was like a whole thing that they had. So that was the only thing that he had ever seen.
How deep were you into this relationship when he asked you what you were doing, and why did he not just Google you?
Well, we were in Mexico.
Oh, so this was all
Sayulita. This was all the first time that we met. And then sadly, that was the year that Brittany passed away, and I had just, they had called all of us for a quote, and I had given a quote to People magazine or something, or it's one of the magazines of like, how special she was, and he my husband was on the flight back home, and he is a reader of the like read one of these magazines and then saw me in there with the quote, and he was like, "Oh, I guess she is like a legitimate this is like for real, you know?" I was like, "Yep, yep."
Brittany was so sweet.
Oh gosh.
There was a guilelessness that she never lost.
Yes, yes. She was like, I always think about her like a hummingbird, that vibrating kind of energy, and how she just always, you always felt like she was like ecstatic to see you, you know? She was just like, "Hi, Lisa, how are you?" You know? Um it's so heartbreaking, because all of this stuff that we do for the film, for all the anniversaries, like 30 does feel different, I will say, and in like a really nice way. I feel like I've sort of settled into the fact that this is a part of my life and that people love it. But I always think about her. I mean, obviously, but it, it's just so hard because she should be a part of this, and now so much time has passed, and my more recent memories are of those of us that are still here who do things together with it, for the film. And I also know, I feel like I do so many of the things that would have been her, if she had
Right.
been here. And that just feels weird to me sometimes. So I always try to be really, I just talk about her all the time because she was super special.
And that's lovely. Being remembered
Yes,
is for a good reason,
for a
not
good
like a
reason.
Charles Manson reason, is
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
is such a beautiful legacy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of legacy, there was a line in the movie that could have come out of my mother's mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of your jokes, and I'm paraphrasing, "My plastic surgeon doesn't want me
Yeah.
doing any activities with balls
It
or
really could have
implants in
come
my nose."
out of,
And
yeah.
he there and he Dion says, "There goes your social life."
And I am telling you, first of all, I think you're so right that this, like, your mom this could have been one of her jokes.
But they say you didn't get it in the
I
beginning.
didn't. I didn't. I truly didn't. And again, smart cookie, like I'm the one that was, reading classic English literature in my trailer. I didn't get it. And then there was a certain point, while we were shooting the film, but it might have even been after I said it, where, and honestly, honestly, Amber didn't need to get it because
No,
she was being serious about, like, I can't have anything,
near
touching
my
my face.
face, yeah.
And so I looked at it like I was, she was kind of, whatever Dion and Cher would say anyway, she would just sort of write them off. And then I remember in the middle going like, "Oh my God, that's why everyone thinks this is so funny." And then I went, "Oh no, how could I not have understood that?"
'Cause it is such a brilliant line.
Yeah, it really is.
It is
That's
you
Amy is so genius.
My mother actually, for no credit, wrote the Bruce Willis part in Look Who's Talking. She
Oh,
came
she
in
did?
she was brought in to punch it up.
To punch up the, oh my God, I love it. I have to say, I watched that special
Oh,
for your mom. It
dead
was
funny.
so beautiful, and
Thank you.
I just loved, what I especially loved was hearing all the men speak so highly of her. And not that it didn't surprise me, I am just was so pleased to see that, because comedians can sometimes not be, nice to each other, but I mean, I don't understand all of that, but I know there's like a whole thing that they do with each other. But I think that hearing men speak, like, it's one thing when women are like, she was groundbreaking, she was brilliant, she did all these different things. But when men are really acknowledging that and saying she paved some way for them, I was like, it really made me emotional. I was like, it was great. So it was
Thank
beautiful.
you. I worked incredibly hard on that.
I bet. I bet
It
you did.
was, and
Great.
it kept trying to go sideways on us.
Oh, really? I
Literally
can only imagine.
literally the night before we taped, the hotel I was in caught fire. I
Shut up.
swear to
Are
God.
you kidding? Oh my God.
I was out in the street at 3 in the morning
Stop
knowing
it.
I had to be just even to rehearse my little part.
Oh my God.
We literally were dropping me in because I was also the EP of the show.
Right,
So
right.
I had to be there at like 7:30 in the morning. I was gonna be first one up, read prompter, set
Oh,
the font size, right? And get
yeah.
off so everyone else could come in. And I knew if I texted the other 2 EPs, my it's 3 a.m. and my hotel's on fire,
On fire.
one of them would stroke out for sure.
For sure.
For sure.
Oh
So,
my God.
oh yeah. It
So
was
against all odds, it
but
all
it was
came
I have to
together.
say, and my favorite part of the whole thing was it was a really happy team.
Oh, so good.
And literally everything that could go wrong went wrong,
Right, right. And
you
everybody's
know?
like, "We got it. We're doing it for Joan. We
Yeah,
got
and and then the piece de resistance is my hotel catches fire, and not like, "Oh, it's a fire alarm," like, there was smoke,
right,
it
like
was
spoke." What do you
yeah.
think do you think she was laughing about this up there? Or
Well,
she was like, "Get your shit
I'm
together."
I'm of 2 minds. One was, "Okay, I totally don't approve of this. Why are you doing this?" And the other thought was, "You better leave in that one joke
You
that you're
better
questioning." You better leave it in because I
Right.
will set another building on fire if you don't. You make the network leave that in.
Oh, I
You
love
know,
it.
when we're still doing,
Tell me
like,
that.
script changes at the last
Tell me
minute.
that.
Yeah, that was the only thing I could think about, that and the fact that I was literally having chest pains. Um, do you wonder what Amber is doing now? Because I think there's a really good possibility that she would be a momfluencer.
Oh, I love it. I bet so I've thought about this also, and I am of two minds. I think either she married some extraordinarily wealthy man and is driving him crazy and has some business where she doesn't really work at it, but she makes a lot of money from other people doing the work for her. Or this is what I really think is that she didn't marry anybody. She lives in a giant house that she paid for from her wildly successful fashion line. And she just has like lives with a lot of gay men who adore her. And she's got like a fantastic life. Maybe Cher works for her company. That's what I mean,
Could
that's
be.
what Amber would
Uh,
like.
Hamptons or Malibu.
Oh, I
I
mean,
could see her in the Hamptons.
both, but I think Hamptons. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm still gonna lean into momfluencer and
Hmm.
married to a very wealthy man,
Okay.
and, a lot yoga and Pilates for
Yep.
sure,
Yep. Oh,
Or Tracy
or
Anderson.
Tracy.
But
Yes,
what makes me laugh is, and I don't wanna call you a momfluencer, but you are a mom to a teenager,
I
and
am.
you write about it in People Magazine on their .com. Um, so life imitating art, potentially.
Yeah.
Um, what made you wanna start writing? And you write about a lot of things.
So, yeah, so I've been writing since I was a kid, honestly, since I remember like writing stories in first and second grade and things. And then in high school, I had this brilliant teacher, Mrs. Collins, I want to say. I can see her face. And I just really started to lean into autobiographical fiction. And she was like, you should keep doing this. You should read it. So I have been writing all along, and I wrote a couple of, I wrote a one woman show as a play when I first moved to LA. And then when my dad passed away and a whole series of things happened at the same time when I was 31, 32, and that's when I started to write my book that came out a couple years ago.
Yeah,
And
Wake
so
Me When You Leave, and it was a big
yes,
hit.
and
It was a
I
big hit.
and so I like that I wrote that first also as a one woman show, and I did it at the Geffen at the Audrey Skirball Theater at the Geffen
Mhm.
as a benefit for a Big Brothers Big Sisters organization that I was working with at the time. And that experience, I went, this is what this is what I want to do with my creative life going forward. This is the kind of work I want to do where people are like weeping, but they're laughing and they're, telling their own stories and feeling really alive and creating that expressing the human condition. It was like super special. And I went, okay, this is what I want to do. And then I wrote it as a book, I wrote it as a movie, and then I got the book deal first. And now the film is in development and that I wrote and I'm directing. So we're trying to get the financing right now, which is like a labor of love trying to finance small films.
Oh,
So
that's super fun.
it's so easy. It's just like everybody
Oh.
just throws the money at you.
Oh, yeah, and all you do is, like, smile and pitch.
And smile and bitch, yeah. And I mean, we have a phenomenal cast. We've had so many great actors attached, and it's like, oh, it's just hard. So we're getting there, and I know, I'm confident that we will, but it's really like
It's a bitch.
the persevere. It's a bitch. It's a bitch. It just is. And now, I believe it's got like the magic touch to it. So I am trusting that the right people are going to come together and that we'll be on our way, I hope,
Is
soon.
there another book in you?
Definitely. And I've been trying to figure out I mean, that's really, I love acting. It's my first, I love it. I'll never stop doing it. But writing is really like, I feel like I'm channeling when I do that. I'm like, I'm sort of go to another place. And so it's incredibly fulfilling to me. But it's obviously very solitary, the process. So it's really beautiful when people actually get to read it and then have such a positive response. Like I get letters and notes and messages on social media from people that I don't know who just say how touched they were by it and how they had a similar experience. And so it's just really special. So I mean, I definitely want to write another book, and I'm just not, I've been deciding sort of like two directions that I want to go, and I don't know which one it's going to be.
Well,
But
you could always do what I do and just pound your head into your desk till one of them makes more sense, because that's my
yeah,
creative process.
yeah, right. Oh, yeah,
Just
yeah. Yes.
and you're like and then you think you've got the right one, and you start, and you realize you have maybe 2 chapters.
Maybe two, right. So, right. See, the first part of me went, okay, maybe the next book should start right after this one ends, which is essentially a year after my dad passed away.
Mhm.
And I moved to Spain. There's a whole world where we are not doing this interview and I am living off the grid in Spain. Like I really was like, I'm out of here. I moved to Barcelona and you know got into a relationship. Thought I was gonna forever be with this Spaniard who was a gorgeous, wonderful human. But I realized, oh, I don't want to live off the grid. I want to do I want to do my creative work. Like this is what I'm here for. So I'm going, maybe that's the one I want to do, or I don't know. But then I'm like, maybe I'll write something that's fiction, that's really fiction. And then but I don't know that that's my thing. I don't know that that's what, it's got to be based in reality in some way, I think.
Yeah, I always get to the with my writing partner, we're like, "Okay, here's what it needs to be," and we're like, "Okay, and chapter 1, and chapter 2, and chapter 3, and fuck." You
Right.
know, that's
Right.
where we get
Yeah.
stuck.
That's the part, right. I think that that's so natural because it's like the first act of a screenplay. It's the same thing, like, oh, I got it. And then the middle bit is always, that's the hardest part. It's the hardest part.
Where there's nowhere to go with this.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, Clueless celebrates its 30th anniversary, and you can stream it on Paramount Plus. This has been such a lovely, lovely chat.
I have loved it. It's been so fun. It's really nice to see you, and
Nice to see you.
I'm so glad we got to do this. Thanks for
Yes.
having me.